Welcome to Coffee with Kiera. Today we are Coffee on the Go, sponsored by Human Being, with locations at 6th Street in Newport and coming soon to Lincoln City. And today we are at the Lincoln County Fairgrounds, and I'm being joined by Jenny Demaris. She is the Lincoln County Emergency Preparedness Manager. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, hi, thanks for stopping by.
So tell us a little bit about what we're doing here today.
Sure, well, a couple of exciting things about what you're going to see today. First of all, I want to let you know all of the supplies and materials that you receive here, we got through grants. So we applied for healthcare funds from the state for all of our equipment and resources I'm going to show you today, minus the trailer, but we actually have a new trailer on order because we needed a bigger trailer. So to know, we're bringing money back to Lincoln County. Secondly, we recognized about 2 years ago that our public health services staff needed to increase their capability to be able to provide mass prophylaxis or medications or immunizations or antibiotics to individuals during a time of a public health outbreak. So what does that mean to you as an individual? What it means is public health actually has the ability to set up a clinic, which is what I'm going to take you through today, and be able to provide services to about 150 to 200 people at one time without touching any of the resources at the public health clinic. So that's the goal for every public health department in the state of Oregon, to have the capacity to activate a pod, or which we actually refer to it as a medical countermeasures point of dispensing. But in short, we call it a public health pod.
And why is having these pods so important to the community?
Well, think about your local healthcare hospital. If we were to have an outbreak of some sort that
We need to add God forbid.
Yeah, there you go, right. So I'll just might mention, it's not a secret, Oregon Health Authority is getting ready to implement a statewide public health exercise across the entire state. It is an intentional release of the plague. Exercise only, exercise only. So with that comes response. We have to challenge ourselves, just like fire departments and law enforcement officers, when you see that they do armed intruder events or they do burn to learn events with structures. So does public health, and so do hospitals. So these type of exercises allows them the framework or scenario to push up against to see if their plans, policies, resources, and staff are ready for those challenges. So this statewide exercise, the last week of April, Lincoln County Public Health and our healthcare partners will be participating in that full-scale exercise. So this is a lead-up exercise, or a lead-up activity for that statewide exercise. And again, going back to your original question, is if we had an epidemic or an outbreak of some sort that required that people receive an additional immunization or prophylaxis, which means a pharmaceutical medication to make them better or get them healthy, you can't have everyone going to the hospital, and you can't overwhelm the doctor's offices or clinics for this one thing. Because if that's all that they need, it's better to bring all of those individuals to one neutral, or pardon me, one central location that we then provide a clinical assessment, give them the information regarding what the disease or outbreak is, what their symptoms are, how to take care of themselves, and to actually give them the immunization or the antibiotic right there on the spot. So imagine if we had 150 to 200 people that needed to be vaccinated. What would that do to our local hospitals?
Oh.
Right? It would overwhelm them. That's not what a hospital is intended for. Even for doctors' offices, they would not be able to accommodate that volume. But what we can do is pull the clinical staff, the nurses from our various agencies, including public health, bring them here, and there's even a much larger response plan, which we refer to as the Strategic National Stockpile. So when something very catastrophic happens in public health, we can tap into federal resources that will within 24 hours push large quantities of medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, antibiotics to local communities to help mitigate or immediately treat people that might have been exposed or contracted an illness of some sort. So in the small picture of Lincoln County, this is what we have. So we refer to this as an open pod. There's actually 3 different types of pods. An open pod is what you're seeing here today. The general public can come here, receive the assessment, receive the treatment that they need. Another type of pod is a closed pod. The closed pod may be for a specific school. We've seen this done many times with University of Oregon, Oregon State University, when you're trying to immunize the college students based on a certain thing that they need. And then also there is a drive-through pod. So for example, we might take a fire station that has drive-through apparatus bay, take the engines out, community members come in, turn off their car, we do an assessment right there at the window, and then actually give them their immunization or their medication right at that point, and then they're able to travel on and no one has to get out of the car. It makes it so much better for people that have mobility issues.
So walk us through this.
Yeah,
now.
I would be
like
happy
I said,
to.
Coffee with Kiera on the go.
Yep. So if you were to come here today, and let's say it was just opening hour, you would be greeted by public health greeting staff. You would be given an information sheet. We would ask to take some pertinent information, maybe your medical history or your signs and symptoms. You fill that out, you bring it back, and then you go to your next station. Typically, we would actually have probably 4 to 5 people working here. And today, this is our lovely assistant emergency manager, Samantha Buckley. And you would have 4 to 5 people here. They have the ability to look up your immunization records with the Oregon Health Authority. If needed to do billing or insurance, they could also process that. They can also print for you your immunization record, because some of us might not have that, and you can walk away with that and take it with you.
That's really important for children.
It's very important, yeah. Almost all children going to see today's physicians, their information is all online and can be easily accessed by clinicians or parents.
Perfect.
So from there, depending on if it's immunization or medication, you would be divided up into specific lines. Today what we're demonstrating is a mini pod. So envision if we thought we had a full scale pod, you would actually see probably 6 lines that people could get into. But for today, we have an ADA accessible line, or also for a family line. Sometimes moms will bring in 2 or 3 kids with them and they need more space. So that could be the family line or the ADA line. And the other line would be for the general population. It is intended to be sort of like a movie theater. You kind of wind your way through and get to the other side. So we're going to skip forward, and I'm going to show you on the right-hand side is where we have just a closed area for privacy or screening, and then the other 2 nurses stations that are an open area. And I'll give you a demonstration of what the nurses station looks like, and then we also have some basic life support equipment and AED, blood pressure, so we can actually do some emergency medical care if someone were to have a reaction or just have a medical condition we weren't expecting.
Lead the way.
Okay. So a couple of other things that you'll notice, there's lots of chairs with orange vests. Every person that is on staff that would be working here would actually have an orange vest on. These particular chairs, we have flow monitors, and they actually watch the flow of the traffic, make sure we're not getting too busy. If it is, then we'll open up another line, kind of at, in the assembly area, they'll open another line. This room here is curtained off. Everything is portable. Everything is on rolling carts. It all loads up in the trailer. We can take it anywhere we need to. So this would be for an ADA or a family environment, or if we had someone that had a very form-fitting shirt and they needed to take their shirt off, they could actually come over here and do that in privacy and then get their immunization. All of the nurses station are identical, and this one over here is a really good example to take a look at. So in here, everything again is set up to be very mobile. The nurses for the public health department actually also use these nurses station boxes during our regular school immunizations and our influenza or flu clinics that they do each year. Everything is laid out for safety, for biohazard, personal protective equipment, Clorox, so we can make sure the area is clean and environment. We have a cardboard box here that all the confidential paper goes into so you can't see it. And then we close it up and tape it up at the end of the pod, and that goes back to the public health department. We also bring all of our own trash cans because we're never sure what physical environment we may be in, and there may not be enough trash cans. So we are self-sustaining, fully mobile, and you'll notice we also have a red cooler here where we put immunizations if they have to be refrigerated. And then on the back counter, you'll see when we pan out there, we were granted a very a very comprehensive freezer refrigerator. Every public health department in the state was given one of those so that we can keep it in the trailer, get it charged up, it's ready to go, and all the vaccines will fit in there at the correct temperature. It does its own monitoring, it's very high tech, very expensive, and we're very grateful to have that.
And this was from a grant, is that correct?
Right, so the trailer had been purchased by the public health department several years ago, and was used for various things, but when we did our assessment or gap analysis of what we needed, we identified we needed all of this stuff to be fully mobile, secured in a trailer, ready to go at a moment's notice. So everything basically from all the rolling carts, the chairs, the table, pardon me, not all the tables are part of the fairgrounds. Everything else that you see here fits into that trailer. We also have two wheelchairs, and I'll take you over here to this side. This is our last station. So if someone were to have a medical emergency, or sometimes people get immunizations, they feel a little faint, they just need to lay down.
Kind of like when you get a blood draw.
Yeah, exactly right. So we have a portable hospital cot here. We also have another one that's in the trailer. We have an AED, brand new. We have everything we need to do basic EMS medical care. If we had a full-scale pod where we knew we were going to have a large population, we would actually put one of our ambulance companies on standby, and they probably would be stationed outside in the parking lot, so if we needed assistance, they would be able to come in. Another piece regarding a pod, if it's a high-profile event, meaning like the Oregon Health Authority exercise where we have an intentional release of the plague, most likely you would actually see law enforcement here or official security guards, because the vaccine may be in short supply. People are very concerned, they may be a little frantic, sometimes emotions run very high, and just having the presence of law enforcement to sort of, keep everyone a little chill, you may see them here. We would also have folks in the parking lot assisting with traffic. We might be using our community emergency response team, or the great Newport PD volunteers that we have here. If it happened to be here, they're a great group of people that know how to do traffic assessment. So they may be part of this team. Today you're just seeing Sam and I, but for this fully functioning pod, we probably would have about 15 to 20 people working this pod that you're seeing today.
And so this is centrally located, this open pod here.
Yes.
At Lincoln County Fairgrounds, where it's centrally located for anybody from throughout Lincoln County.
Correct.
But you can go anywhere in Lincoln County, right?
So we recognize as public health, this is a population center, but we know that we have folks that don't travel. They don't have access to transit, or they're just not comfortable leaving their communities. Depending on the need, this trailer and everything that you see would just move to the next location, maybe every 6 hours, maybe it would go one day to the next day, it just depends on the need. And if Lincoln County was the primary focus of the outbreak, we would also be calling upon the other public health departments in the state of Oregon and Oregon Health Authority. So we may have our large pod here, but we may call Benton or Lane County or even Marion County. They could bring their resources over, and we could actually do 3 pods simultaneously.
That's awesome. And it's so important. I really want to point out, these exercises are so important.
They are, yes.
Because it's like practicing your fire drill.
Yep.
Or your tsunami evacuation.
For sure, yeah.
It's really important that you have that down so that in the event when something does happen, the community also has faith that they're going to be safe, right?
Another thing that's great about us in Lincoln County, I will say, we tend to lead in our efforts, and we're a very progressive county. We went down just a couple weeks ago and took this trailer and all of our supplies to Coos County Public Health. They are about 18 months behind us in their planning efforts, so they're really determining what do we need, what are we missing. So we took the whole trailer down there, opened everything up for them, and they could use all of our parts and pieces and see what they need, and now they have our inventory list. And then Samantha, who you met earlier, is actually working with Oregon Health Authority on a standardized point of dispensing policy and procedure, a quick reference guide. How do you activate the pod? Every position that you see has a job description or a job action sheet, so it's very specific. We have very specific documentation requirements, policies, legal counsel policy, policy group review. It's a very controlled operation.
So Jenny, you've mentioned about using this in the event of needing vaccinations and medication. Could it also be used in the event of another type of emergency?
Well, it could. So most people would tend to say, oh, what about Cascadia? Sure, absolutely.
She's the Cascadia queen.
That's right, yeah. So all of these things could be used in a Cascadia type event if we needed to set up a mass care clinic. The things that you see here are really not trauma related services, but just having things available would augment to other sources or supplies we have. We don't advertise it very much, but we actually have 4 EMS supply caches in the county north. North, east, central, and south, undisclosed locations. And what we've actually been building towards the last several years is getting every primary fire station to have the same type of EMS supply cache, or we would refer to that as your mass casualty cache, which is your everyday hazards, fires, explosions, you know, those type of events that would also be used for a Cascadia. So may not always hear the good things that we're doing. We are progressing these forward. We go after a lot of grant funds to be able to have this capacity, and this is just another demonstration. I'm going to say it. Your taxpayer money goes out, but by golly, we're working hard to bring your tax money back in.
All right, Jenny, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, as you can see today, I'm wearing the public health logo. I normally wear the sheriff's logo.
I did notice a different shirt.
Right. So Samantha and I work for the sheriff's office, but we support 2 agencies under the county commissioners. And I would remind you to make sure that you are fully immunized and to make sure you get your flu shot every year. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is wash your hands.
Absolutely.
Wash your hands. That's the best way to protect yourself from just about anything.
All right, thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing
Absolutely.
with us today.
And thanks to Human Being for supporting the program.
So thanks for joining us for Coffee with Kiera on the Go with Jenny Demaris. And join us again on Pacific Northwest News and Entertainment.